Good morning. I'm Andrew Whaley. This morning I'm coming to you from the back lot of Wasena Elementary School. This is the school where two of our kids attend. It's our neighborhood school, and we've been hearing a lot in the last several weeks about school reopening, especially in Roanoke City. It's been nerve-wracking. It's been difficult. I've had conversations with teachers and parents and email exchanges with our school's principal and with our new superintendent. People trying to figure out how we do learning this year. And as I've watched as a parent and as a pastor and as a member of this community, I've seen the question kind of shift. We began by asking, how can we safely reopen schools, and trying to follow certain guidelines and restrictions in how to educate students in the classroom. But as time went by, we realized that even our best efforts to honor those safety protocols would largely still result in a disrupted school year, as super spread events would happen, as children, teachers, staff, administrators would be infected, and any kind of rhythm and routine of learning would be destroyed. And so the plan has been shifted to begin with an all-virtual option. That's the option that's being considered on Tuesday. You're watching this on Wednesday. We'll see what the result of that meeting was. My assumption is that that plan is going to be approved. So we had to move our question from how do we safely reopen schools, when that became sort of a non-starter, to a harder question. How do we best educate the children of Roanoke City in the midst of this pandemic? That goes far beyond the regular rhythms and routines of the school year, and asks us once again to ask that core question: why do we educate children in the first place? You can't start to figure out how you do that and what you do if you forget why you teach kids in the first place. And so that puts on the table a lot of things that we hold as sacrosanct about education. But I want to tell you, from my perspective as a pastor, as a parent, that I am grateful for leaders in our community who are willing to listen, who are willing to pivot, and frankly, who are willing to probably take a lot of heat right now from folks who are upset by this change. This plan does put a huge burden on families, and I trust that plans are in place to put something out there for kids who can't safely be at home with an adult to oversee their learning during the day. I know that's a huge logistical undertaking, but I trust that our community leaders and our school leaders are working on such a plan. And I get it. I get the frustrations. There are at-risk kids who might struggle to get online and actually do the assignments that their teachers are sending. There are students we hear about in abusive homes. Others struggle to have food each day to eat. Some parents have no idea what to do about overseeing learning at home. But we have to realize that mass spreading of COVID-19 and rising rates of death are worse. Super spreading and a total shutdown and the reign of fear in the lives of our children is worse. And so this pivot has required a vision of what we might call situational ethics. A vision for the present moment that relies on adaptation, innovation, creativity, and partnerships. When you think of it, what we've done is we are in a situation, a scenario, that's calling us to put our own educations to good use. Why do we educate people if not to help us to think clearly, to use the facts that we've attained to address the challenges of our current moment? That kind of learning reminds me of the book of Proverbs. It's a treasure trove of short, pithy sayings that sometimes contradict each other, but all the sayings in Proverbs are true in the right situation. But the learner has to figure out when to apply which truths to each moment. So listen to these words from Proverbs 22, 1 through 9. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. The rich and the poor have this in common: the Lord is the maker of them all. The clever see danger and hide, but the simple go on and suffer for it. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse. The cautious will keep far from them. Train children in the right way, and when old they will not stray. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is the slave to the lender. Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of anger will fail. Those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. Here we see that the teacher wants the child to value integrity more than wealth, but then later says that the rich rule over the poor and that the reward of faithful living is money. But he also says the poor and the rich are made by God, and so there's contradiction there. But there's also some common themes throughout the passage. A sign of wisdom is to avoid danger. The clever see danger and hide, and the cautious steer clear of snares and thorns. The unjust, we read, create calamity, but the generous are the ones who share their bread with the poor. And couched in the middle of all those verses is this line, train children in the right way, and when they are old, they will not stray. So train children to be people of integrity, who value knowledge more than a quick buck, who avoid unnecessary danger, who live justly with their neighbors, and who practice generosity. I think right now we're seeing adults who have been trained up in such a way to lead our schools reopening right now. I'm praying for them every day. I hope that you are too. And together, may we keep our deepest values at the forefront of our minds. And may we all be open to the wisdom of God that speaks to us to address every situation and each challenge that lies before us.